Welcome to another TelView screencast. Today we are going to give you an overview of the usage statistics feature of our PegTV product. So let's log into the PegTV CMS here as a demo user I have set up. And immediately you'll notice a new tab in the upper navigation. It's called Stats. And as soon as you click it, you're into your report for the month. We've got some details here about your user account, the product that the statistics are for, and the reporting period. Reporting period is always going to be the latest month. So as soon as you click Stats, you're always going to see this month. We've got some navigation here secondarily. Each of these links really just jumps you to a different part of the page. The bulk of the report exists on a single page, with the exception of some details pages that I'll show you in a minute. We've got everything on a single page. It makes it easier for you to print or save locally on your machine. The first report here is basically a summary of playbacks for the entire reporting period. In this example, we've got 160 visitors who've generated 356 playbacks, consuming about 26 megabytes of bandwidth. We've got some averages beneath that. Each visitor generated about 2 playbacks, consuming about 157 kilobytes per visit. And it's important to point out that your statistics are generated nightly. They're not instantaneous. So if you know people are playing items in your player, you're not seeing them here immediately. That's why. The monthly history report is a summary of your playbacks for the entire year. In this example, we've only got 2 months worth of history at the moment, but this will certainly fill up as the year progresses. Days of the month report shows a breakdown of usage each day. In the graph here you can see the peaks and valleys in your usage during the week. The gray periods are the weekends and the white days are midweek. So you can see we've got some peak usage here during the week as opposed to the weekends. And the data in this graph is just reiterated numerically beneath it. Days of the week report shows a breakdown of averages by day of week. We've got this value here, for example, shows that on Mondays of this month we're generating an average of 20 playbacks, consuming this much bandwidth. By glancing at the graph here, we've got clearly Wednesday is our day of highest usage. Below that we have a breakdown by hours. You can see when the highest peaks were for the day. In this example we've got a peak here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It looks like 7 o'clock at night came in second as our most popular hour. And again, the data in the graph reiterated in the report below it. The country report shows a breakdown of which countries your visitors are from. This is pretty self-explanatory. So obviously the United States being the most popular country for our playbacks here. The host report shows these are the host names of the various machines that are accessing your player. And keep in mind that these are not the host names of your customers' actual computers. Your customers, when they're browsing the internet, actually anyone who's browsing the internet, their desktop machines or their laptops sit safely behind a firewall. So host names of individual machines cannot really be determined outside of the firewall. The only thing that an external entity can determine about you is the host name of your router. You'll sometimes hear people call it a gateway. and one component of your router being your firewall. And this is the reason, if you look here, that some of these host names have telecom company names in them: Qwest, Verizon. Those are the internet connectivity providers for these customers. This is a Qwest router, this is a Verizon router. And in addition to that, it's also possible that more than one customer can be browsing via this host name. ISPs reuse these types of things. So my point being is that it's not totally an indication of individual customer PCs that are using your player. It's close, but it's not exactly an indicator of client machines. It's really just a list of routers that your customers are browsing through. And you can see some items on here don't have a host name. They're just an IP address. Just be aware that that's completely normal. Certain internet providers will make it so that the host name of their router can't be determined externally. Some links at the top here that allow you to view some additional details. For example, several reports on this page only show you the top 10 items for this period. There would be obviously too many to list all on this page in some examples. So in this case, full list will show you the rest of these items, the full list of items for this period. The last visit, again the same thing, but this time it's filtered to include only the last visit from each of these hosts. Unresolved IP address is a report of basically what I just mentioned, cases where the host name of the customer could not be determined. So it's just a list of IPs. And again, that's completely normal. Just be aware of that. You're likely going to have a good handful of these on your report. Now, these last reports are probably the ones that are going to be the most important to you. These show, there's a pages URL report and a views by file report. These are showing you which videos, which actual streams are being played, and how popular they are. So these two reports are essentially the same thing, just showing you slightly different views into the data. The pages URL report is showing you the actual URL of the stream, whereas views by file is showing you a slightly more user-friendly file name or stream name here. And again, how many times it was played and the bandwidth. The bandwidth in the URL report is actually the average for each of these, and the bandwidth on the views by file report is total for the period. Just a little different view into that data there. HTTP status codes. This report is going to show you any playback requests that were not successful. For example, if a request was made for a stream that doesn't exist, it would show up here. You shouldn't encounter too many things in this report. It's primarily here for convenience. And that's about it for PEG TV Stats. Thank you for watching.